Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this building committee. Uh, I have brought everybody in that's been part of the building committee, and if you have a question, put it in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end. We're going to go over a preview of the building and what it looks like and where we go from here. So I appreciate everybody getting on, and we'll go from here. I'll have Rivas. Do you want to take it over?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'll just introduce myself, and the rest of we'll have everybody introduce ourselves. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Todd Rivas. I work as a VP of the Support Division.
Ed Warden, District 2 VP.
I'm Russell Gruber, industrial broker for 18 years here in Denver.
And Charlie Vigil, I'm Steward Down in Prevention.
All right, so we'll get started. So how we got to 775 Mariposa, we looked at a lot of properties online. We physically looked at 8 separate buildings and toured them. The building that we're looking at on Mariposa was by far the best building that we looked at. We actually looked at that building, left and went to another one, and then called Chris and said, hey, meet us back in Mariposa real quick. We need to take a serious look at this building. So that started the process. We brought the executive board out so the executive board could look at the building and approve moving forward and going under contract. We had to go under contract pretty quickly because we were afraid if we didn't, that somebody else would snake the building out from underneath us. And with our process, because of the votes and everything we have to do, we had to get locked in. We still have plenty of ways to get out of it. If something doesn't work, something changes, we can get out of that contract pretty easily. Russell wrote it in a way that we have several different opportunities to get out of it if we need to. From there, we'll go to Russell. Do you just want to give them a kind of a background of that area, what we're looking for, and opportunities near that building right now?
Yeah, sure. As far as Mariposa goes, it's obviously a very infill central location. When we started looking at buildings, one of the biggest things I think we were noticing is finding buildings with available parking. This property has a massive yard to it, which I think everybody's hopefully seen the YouTube video. But in addition to that, I think the 8th Santa Fe all the way to I-25 corridor, ultimately what we call like the Barnum Rail Yards, has some pretty positive headwinds. After doing this for 18 years, I always tell people the main reason you want to buy a building is, right, you got to house an operation or a business, but you're buying it instead of renting it because you want the appreciation. So where you buy a piece of real estate, you don't want that piece of real estate to be worth the same amount of money you paid for it in 10 years for certain. And I think the headwinds and the information that I believe to be true about what's going to happen at Barnum specific, which is just on the west side of this Mariposa property, should provide some really, really neat appreciation and quite honestly clean up the neighborhood quite a bit as well. Do you want me to talk about building details as well, Todd? Square footage, stuff like that?
Yeah, if you'd like to.
So the building's 5,220 square feet. It's a twin T concrete building. It has a second floor office to it. It's currently zoned IA, which is Denver's light industrial, and it sits on an 18,757 square foot site. The way the building was built is the building's sitting on the north side of the property, which is really allocated a massive fenced yard. Google has been the occupant of the building for the last 5 years, which quite honestly ended up having a lot of nice upgrades. Internally, they removed some walls, put in glass finish, upscaled all the break rooms, upscaled the upstairs office, put in electric gates. They really dolled the thing up at their cost, so the landlords benefited there, and hopefully you guys are going to benefit from that as well.
Charlie, you want to talk about the building and some of the other internal components?
Yeah, on this building, we are going to need to do some zoning, take care of some zoning issues for the building because the garage right now is zoned for storage, and we're going to have it rezoned and repurposed as an assembly occupancy. And one of the questions that came up, some of the issues that we have, it depends on our occupancy load, and so we're going to keep it below 300, and that will alleviate some of the major upgrades that we need to do for the building. And like Russell was saying, with Google, they've upgraded the electrical on this place. They put in a lot of things in there that we won't have to do moving forward.
So they have security cameras, and all the security equipment will stay. It is a key card entry system that will stay. The 6-foot chain link fence that goes all the way around the property has a barbed wire attached to the top of that to help secure that parking lot. So there are a lot of things in the building that are going to help us out. I know that we've talked about some of the occupancy issues that we think we might have down the line. We use some fire protection engineers and some professionals to help us assess the building before we get too far into it. And after speaking with the fire protection engineers and some other experts in the city, we're confident that the information that we have, the changes we're going to have to make, there's going to have to be some changes we have to make, but every building we looked at, almost every building we looked at, is going to need several $100,000 worth of remodel and rework. So what we're going to have to do with this one will be very minimal compared to all the other ones. Ed, you want to talk about the loan process? And how we started, how we got that?
So we reached out to 3 different institutions for a interest sheet from them to find out what their rates start at, their terms of their loans, down payment and whatnot. We've got one back that was a 60-40 split loan to value. We kept taking that back to Centennial, which is affiliated with the credit union. They kept beating everybody that we brought terms to. So to be fiduciarily responsible with the money that you guys put in for your union dues, we've decided to go ahead and continue with the credit union because they've got us in at right now at 6.75, 75-25 loan to value down payment, no prepayment penalty fee, and a 0.5% origination fees. We don't have to open up any other accounts with any other institutions to get that. Either today or tomorrow, I think the Feds are meeting to possibly lower interest rates again. So that number could change to better help us. With the way current things are, we're looking at 79, 75 and some change for monthly payment. At the old credit union, when we were renting from there, we were at $7,500 a month and didn't own anything. So a little bit more money. We're going to have ownership of a building that potentially is going to increase in value exponentially over the years, and no prepayment penalty fees. So if we do come into a big chunk of money down the road, we can pay that off and not have any kind of penalty done with that. So we are not locked in on any interest rates yet. We have to wait until it goes to a vote of the membership before we can continue on. Secretary Treasurer Pixley has given all of that information to the trustees, and they are going over that to make sure everything is, we're doing our due diligence on our end to make sure everything's good to go, and wait until that vote comes out.
And that vote will be on the 26th and 27th. Polls will open on the morning of the 26th and will go until 5 o'clock on the 27th. And it'll be a referendum vote to all the membership, and you'll just log on like we've been doing for an online vote, and that's how the vote will be completed.
You want me to answer Mike's question?
Yeah.
To answer Mike Evans's question on any kind of remodeling, I believe is what it is. Right now, to do the floors in the garage area, finish off some offices that were removed that were done with glass partitions, change a couple doors around for emergency exit purposes. My best guess, I'm looking at probably anywhere $40,000 to $50,000 to get all of that stuff done. Obviously, without having people come in and give us bids, that could change a little bit, but I don't think it'd be much over that for anything else. Truth is, we can go in there the day of closing and start operating and not have to do a thing to it. So,
Yeah, the bulk of the improvements that have been made to the building, ultimately were put in within the last 5 years when
Yes.
Google occupied the space. I can't speak to every kind of shelf life of mechanical and stuff like that. We'll also do inspections,
Yes.
assuming everybody wants to move forward to verify everything's in fair condition.
and if we do find things that need to be repaired, that structural or whatever, those will be taken back to the seller as something to negotiate on, just like you would buying a home.
I see Chris has asked what the monthly utility is. We don't know exactly. Google's been paying the utilities at the property currently, so we're asking the ownership if they can reach out to their Google rep and get us. The ownership, realistically, there's still a lease in place till the end of this year. So Google's currently still paying that lease, even though they effectively moved out.
So ownership won't actually start paying a utility bill
Right.
until January.
And it would be kind of difficult for us to go off of Google's utilities for the last 5 years because of the amount of computer equipment, everything that was in that building. We won't be using anywhere near the amount of power that they were. So I think even if we looked at the last 5 years, it would be pretty hard to get an estimate of what it might be for us because most of the time we won't even be in there. So.
What's that one that Derek has?
Got a question. Are there going to be costs to start operating in the building, furniture, phone copiers, etc., as the building looks like it does not have these items?
Correct. Yeah, we'll have to purchase all those items to get it going. There has been talk of using a professional to come in and kind of decorate or design the inside of that. This will be a place that we want to do business in, that we want the affiliate groups to come in and use that space as well to conduct business in from day to day. So we want it to look professional and not to belittle anybody's style, but I don't want it to look like a frat house when somebody comes in there. So I'd rather have it look really nice.
And the nice thing about this building as well is we can start operating day one once we close on this building. The other buildings we looked at, we'd have to go in and do some major renovations in those spaces.
And we still have the copy machine. When we left 12 Lakeside Lane, we have the copy machine. We have refrigerator, copy machine, and that kind of stuff. So that kind of kitchen stuff we won't have to buy, and we won't have to get a copier.
Johnny Pageant, is it ADA compliant? Yes, it is. It has 4 bathrooms, 2 downstairs on the main floor and 2 upstairs. And the 2 downstairs, I know one of them for a fact is ADA compliant with an ADA shower in there as well. So there's no issues with that. Office spaces will probably be upstairs. And the only access to those is a stair. But for the main part of the building, it is all ADA compliant. The vote will go out on the 26th and close on the 27th. I'm not sure exactly the times, but you'll have the 26th and 27th to vote.
Be an online vote.
It'll be all online. You don't have to come down and vote in person.
Can you read Champlin's? Or you'll be ready to read.
I can see it. I got my glasses on. 7,900 pros include costs of taxes and insurance. Yes. Taxes, correct, Pixley? Taxes are included in that. Taxes, principal, and interest are all in that. I'm not sure if the insurance is included in that or not.
Currently, the insurance that the landlord has, the building coverage, is an annual, and it was just shy of $4,400
For the year?
for the year. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an annualized number. I didn't look at what's in his policy. I apologize. I just wanted to see what the number was.
And then he asked what costs to get building up to necessary fire code for assembly.
So to answer Champlin's question on the costs to bring it up to fire code, right now with the occupant load of not going over 300, the spaces, the meeting space is going to be less than 1,600 square feet. With that, it doesn't sound, doing the cursory review of fire code, we're not going to have to upgrade fire alarm, fire sprinkler, do any of those installs. Right now, the biggest thing we're looking at is probably changing the swing of one door for an emergency exit. Other than that, we have multiple exits out of that space. And until we can get in and have contractors come in and take a look, we can't give a solid cost on that work.
Jamie Moran, no, we do not anticipate dues going up.
I'll ask if there's any more questions out there.
Yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? Or clarification on anything?
You should have gotten all the emails. Hopefully the video is out there. If you haven't seen the video, or you want to look at any other information, just reach out to anybody on the building committee, and we can forward all that information on to you so you can look at the video again and look at some of the documents that we can release at this point.
And that link will go out tomorrow with Wednesday email and the Friday email from the union. So that link will still be in there.
The video is up on YouTube for anybody's purview. If you want to go on there, it's at the Denver Firefighters Local 858, our official Instagram.
And we've talked about trying to host an open house so that members can come by and look at it. We're in a bit of a time crunch with the vote. We're in a bit of a time crunch with the holidays. Our agent's here today, so we can discuss if we can do an open house. If we do it, it would be pretty quick. We'd probably have to do it before the end of the week, and I don't know if we can accommodate how many people we can accommodate that way. But I know that he's going to be traveling, and a lot of us will be traveling. So hopefully we can line something up where the members can come by and take a look at it. But we'll have to keep you posted on how we can work that out, and if we can.
And that was a big reason why we did the video, was so people wouldn't have to go down there and physically look at the building, and then we'd have to set up a time with the realtor, our realtor, the sellers, to get access to that and everything else.
Chris Aragon's in.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I guess I'll just add from a contractual piece, because I do know everybody sitting at this table and in this room, there's been an extremely focused effort, and we've had to really, in my opinion, crank on this. I've represented several union halls and locals in the past. I know that how decisions are made and approved sometimes doesn't move within, just some one person making a decision to buy a building. I think information about what's going to happen in that neighborhood is going to start coming out, and is definitely starting to leak out already very quickly. And grabbing this building and jumping on it quickly, I think, was a really smart move. Because I think, honestly, in just 30 days, it's going to be a lot harder to buy a building down in that neighborhood unless you got a lot of money.
All right. Without any other questions, thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if you have any questions, please reach out to the building committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.